Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Kennedy King Park. It is great to have you here for this great commemoration of Robert Kennedy. Now, those of you that were here back in April may recall that the weather was quite different. In fact, in April, when we celebrated the Kennedy King event, I think it was like 30 degrees at the time, and we froze. So I talked to Judge Dreyer, and I said, Judge, the only way that I will gather all these great people in Indianapolis is if you give me an order, a court order. So Judge Dreyer filed this last week, and I want to read it for you. It says, Order for civilized weather on June the 6th, 2016. It says, the weather on June the 6th, 2016 shall be civilized and appropriate for all outdoor activities in Marion County. It is so ordered, June the 3rd, Judge David Dreyer. So we want to thank the judge for giving us a good order on this day. It's good to know a judge. It is great to have you all here today as we mark this special day. Please welcome to the podium Representative Greg Porter, the Vice President of the Kennedy King Memorial Initiative.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Give the weather a hand. Come on, give the weather. Yes. Well, isn't it wonderful to be here with you all today? As Raphael had illuminated that it was a pretty tough day a few weeks ago. But I'm here to welcome you on behalf of the board of the Kennedy King Memorial Initiative and Judge David Dreyer, who's our chair. And at this time, I'd like to recognize some of our board members that are here with us today. Cheryl Richardson from the Parks Department is here. Cheryl, please raise your hand so people see you. Greg Perry, who's also here, he's up here in front. Peter Luster from the Mayor's Office. Peter, you're here, there you are. And Dennis Charles is here. Mr. Charles, there you are in the back. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a great pleasure to welcome you here today. You know, when I look at the sky and I see forever and ever, I think about my friend, my mentor, Representative Bill Crawford, who was one of the initiators of this great event. Bill felt that we couldn't let things fade away. And I know Bill's looking down, he's smiling. He sees 100 or so people here today, which is beautiful. And I can't not think about Bill, but I think about Mark St. John. Mark St. John's another individual who was here with us starting this initiative, who stayed the course and worked hard in regards to this Kennedy King Memorial Initiative. And as we look at this landmark of peace, ladies and gentlemen, think about it. Just, you know, the wind blowing and the sun beaming down, some of you are in the shade. Just think about the peace, the peacefulness of the wind, the peacefulness of your inner thoughts on what we really need to do to continue this dream to move forward in this park. So don't let this be your last time coming to the park. It is our park. It is your park. It is the nation's park. And we need to move forward and make that happen. Raphael, come back and introduce somebody that's super duper important to us along with others. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. And again, welcome to Kennedy King Park and your park. Thank you very much.
Before I represent that person, we have to talk about Jesus first. So, Reverend Brown, I think you're going to talk about Jesus, and then we'll bring up the mayor. Yes? Is that the order of things? I think the mayor will be okay with those things.
We first want to thank God for the weather that makes you feel very, very good. Give yourselves an applause, for God will rain on you. My prayer is this. Let us bow our heads. Father in heaven, we affirm our presence together. We ask that you would guide and strengthen us, bring us closer together. Help us to overcome our own prejudices, our own fault findings, and bring ourselves closer in unity. for this memorial of not just Kennedy, but the memorial of all the people of this community and its leaders. Guide and direct us. This is our prayer. Let the house say, amen.
Reverend Brown, thank you so much. Our next speaker is someone who likes to be referred to as Mayor Joe. He's all over the place. After all, he does run America's best city. So please join me in welcoming the mayor of the city of Indianapolis, Mayor Joe Hogshead.
Quite kind, thank you. Yes, we do indeed honor the wind and the weather in this park today. But isn't it encouraging about our future to hear the joy of children's play? Black children and white children and brown, just across the way. For they are indeed our future. And we live for their future. On behalf of the city of Indianapolis, I want to thank all of you for coming out today to honor Robert F. Kennedy 48 years after he was assassinated in Los Angeles, California in the Ambassador Hotel. But today we gather not to remember Senator Kennedy for where he died or how, but we remember what he lived for and what he said and what he did with his life. We all know that he was here on April 4, 1968. What you may not know is that the day after Dr. King's assassination, April 5, 1968, Bobby Kennedy was in the middle of a presidential campaign. He canceled all of his events on April 5, save one. He was scheduled to speak to the City Club of Cleveland at a luncheon. And he honored that commitment, his only one of that day. And I would like to simply remind us here today of a few of the things that he said on April 5th, 1968, 48 years ago. And as I repeat what he said to that gathering, think about our city, our state, and our country today, and see how prescient his words 48 years ago were. He said, "For there is another kind of violence, slower but just as deadly, destructive as the shot or the bomb in the night. This is the violence of institutions, indifference, and inaction. This is the violence that afflicts the poor, the violence that poisons relations between men because their skin has different colors. This is the slow destruction of a child by hunger and schools without books and homes without heat in the winter. This is the breaking of a man's spirit by denying him the chance to stand as a father and as a man among other men. And this too afflicts us all. For when you teach a man to hate and to fear his brother, when you teach that he is a lesser man because of his color, because of his beliefs, or the policies he pursues, when you teach that those who differ from you threaten your freedom or your job or your family, then you also learn to confront others not as fellow citizens, but as enemies, to be met not with cooperation, but with conquest, to be subjugated and to be mastered. We learn at the last to look at our brothers as aliens, men with whom we share a city, but not a community. Men bound to us in common dwelling, but not in a common effort. We learn to share only a common fear, only a common desire to retreat from each other, only a common impulse to meet disagreement with force. Dr. King and Senator Kennedy were visionaries, not only in their time, but in ours. Let us remember both of them, and particularly on this day, the memory of Robert Kennedy, who campaigned in Indiana in 1968 and said that we must ensure full human equality for all of our citizens before the law, before God, and in the councils of government. We must do this not because it is economically advantageous, although it is, not because the laws of God command it, although they do, and not because caring and compassionate people wish it so. We must do this, ensuring full human equality for all of our citizens, for the single and fundamental reason that it is the right thing to do. I thank you.
On this day in history, we also have some presentations from our youth. I welcome first our first delegation from Heron High School. Their teacher is Michelle Haddix.
Yes, thank you so much. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Heron is so excited to be a part of this community today in serving the legacy of Robert Kennedy. And at our school, in joint with the Center for Inquiry, the lovely background noise that we hear, children on the playground. And we're working with the Center for Inquiry 27 to build a new curriculum called Speak Truth to Power. And it's out of the Robert Kennedy Center for Human Rights in Washington, D.C. And the program, the curriculum is based on training students or working with students to become defenders of human rights within their community, both at the local scale and at the global scale. And Heron High School and the Center for Inquiry are very excited to be a part of this curriculum. And I have two students here today that I'm very excited to introduce to you that have been working as defenders on two areas of human rights that are near and dear to their hearts and that will help us to serve our community, our local community here near to the park. So I'll introduce to you Zoe and Warren from Heron High School. Please welcome them.
I'm speaking Truth for the Voiceless. Released in 1968, the Fair Housing Act says that a seller of property cannot discriminate against. I'm speaking truth for the voiceless. Released in 1968, the Fair Housing Act says that a seller of property cannot discriminate against any person for their sex, race, natural origins, disabilities, or if they have children. These laws are not always enforced, especially within our country's community of veterans.
I am speaking truth for the voiceless. The first privately owned prison was formed in 1852. Since then, our incarceration system has grown to be the largest in the world, imprisoning a large amount of minors, minorities, and people of low socioeconomic status.
I'm speaking truth for the voiceless. In 2010, 12,700 veterans of more recent Middle Eastern wars were identified as homeless. This number increases each year as veterans' access to health care and employment shrinks.
I am speaking truth for the voiceless. The No Child Left Behind Act and Clinton's Safe and Drug-Free Schools program, in effect, incentivized schools to push students who score lowly on standardized tests off of school rosters and into profitable jail systems.
I'm speaking truth for the voiceless. The Declaration of Human Rights, Article 25. Everyone has the right to a standard living etiquette for the health and well-being of himself and of his family, including health, clothing, housing and medical care and necessary social services, and the right to security in the event of unemployment, sickness and disability, old age, or other lack of livelihoods in circumstances beyond his control.
I am speaking truth for the voiceless. The Declaration of Human Rights, Article 26. Education shall be directed to the full development of the human personality and to the strengthening of respect for human rights and fundamental freedoms.
The Hoosier Veterans Assistance Foundation is also speaking for the voiceless.
Sally Pawlowski is also speaking for the voiceless.
I will continue speaking truth to power in order to protect the men and women who have fought to protect my nation.
I will continue speaking truth to power in order to fight a system that creates divide between the classes and traps youth into a cycle of incarceration and poverty, as it destabilizes the environment which is essential during the developmental years of childhood.
So let me just say some things, because they need a little love. They were like, all these people are here. I said, yeah, it's a great thing. And they said, well, how many cameras? I said, all the good cameras are here. So when they come up and speak, if we can just give them a nice round of applause, each one of them, and because they just need that little extra support. So please welcome the Center for Inquiry, and then we'll also give another round of applause for the Heron School. They did an amazing job.
As Michelle just mentioned, this is part of the Speak Truth to Power curriculum. The sixth graders have been studying human rights defenders and been creating artwork that goes along with it. So this is their work.
I chose the drawing of handcuffs because Tawaka Carmen fights for women's rights. It symbolizes the freedom, and what I mean by that is they don't have as many rights as men in Arab countries. And it's sort of, if they would change, that's why I did the drawing of cuffs, that they don't have as many opportunities as being women.
And that was Herbert Andrews. This is now Greg Campbell.
Frank Mugabe fought for the right for the same sex to have a sexual relationship. Himself gay, he thought strongly on this subject. My picture represents his speech to the people about homosexuality.
Now David Roselle.
My artwork represents Jimmy Carter when he made the Department of Electricity. It was his first act of presidency in 1977, also the same year that he became the president. He did this art. I did this artwork because Jimmy Carter made it so that everybody back then had electricity.
Now Malachi Harper.
I did Jimmy Carter let me just read it. Jimmy Carter won a Nobel Prize in 2002. He fought for peace. My paper is based on that. He was the longest retired president in American history. He fought to expand voting rights in the U.S. for women.
Now, Eliana Bliss.
This artwork explains why Betty Williams became a child offender. August 10th, 1976, in Northern Ireland, Betty Williams saw the death of 3 children when they were hit by a car. This made her want to be a child offender. Her compassion for peace against the effect spread across the world. She also held a massive protest and a peace march for children. She also was the co-founder of Women's for Peace, aka, the Community of Peace People.
Thank you, guys. So this was my guy who said, Raphael, how many cameras, right?
Yes.
You did good. Yeah?
I was super nervous.
Come on. Can we get them all a round of applause with our delegation from the Center for Inquiry and Heron High School? Thank you so much. You did good. Yeah? All right.
I think so.
Next time you'll be able to give a speech like the mayor. Just come up here and just blob and talk and, give us stuff and services. Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. 2024 for this young man. Mr. Mayor, that gave you plenty of time to do second, third term. So please now welcome the Deputy Mayor for Neighborhood Engagement, the Reverend Dr. David Hampton.
Thank you, Raphael, and good afternoon to everyone. First, want to certainly give a thanks to our mayor for being here. Let's give a hand to our mayor, Mayor Joe Hogsett. Also, certainly want to thank Judge David Dreyer and Representative Greg Porter for hosting and chairing this great event. I'm honored to stand before you today. Could have been many more, much more astute and greater speakers than me, but I'm honored to have this opportunity for a brief moment. When Nelson Mandela became the president of South Africa, he quoted a poem by Marianne Williamson. I just want to share an excerpt. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. And so in that same spirit, we gather today to be brilliant, to let our light shine as children of God, as a community, and as the great city of Indianapolis. Wasn't it great to hear those children speak and to share their knowledge and their intellect? This is the city in which we live. And we gather today really as a community of hope. Hope for our youth, hope for our city, hope for our community, and a hope that transcends mere pontification, but a hope that's realized by community participation. And that's why we're here, not to merely talk, but to act. Hope in the form of a Project Indy that will lend jobs to thousands of teens. Hope in the form of summer jobs through Indy Parks that offers jobs to hundreds of teens who want one. Hope in the form of ending the school-to-prison pipeline. Hope in the form of a quality education for all, especially our preschool-age children. Hope in the form of ending food insecurity. We face a time in which 1 in 3 children in the city of Indianapolis go to bed hungry every night. Hope in the form of developing our most neglected neighborhoods without displacing the residents who have lived there for so long. It was on April 4th, 1968 that Robert Kennedy gave the speech right here in this very spot. And when the entire nation was upset, and rightfully so, at the death and the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King, when there was violence, when there was destruction all around this nation, Indianapolis stood as a beacon of light and reacted in a different way. There was no violence. There was no destruction. But the reality is, part of the reason for that was because at that time, and certainly Amos Brown could have better statistics than me, but African American home ownership at that time was at nearly 70%. Abraham Maslow talked about the hierarchy of needs. At the very base level, our basic human needs are air, water, food, shelter, clothing. Anybody, no matter what background, anyone, no matter what race, anyone, no matter what their station in life, without these basic human needs, will try to fulfill those needs by any means necessary. A kid who steals a loaf of bread, in their mind is not committing a crime. In their mind is simply trying to survive. And perhaps the real crime is a society who would turn a blind eye to hunger and homelessness. Perhaps the real crime is any society that would ignore the basic human needs that everyone deserves. The primary concern of school children should be their schoolwork, not how they might eat on a particular day. Indy Star just recently reported that parents applaud the school free lunch program because it helps them actually pay bills. Even as a pastor myself, I understand that from the testimony of many of my members, they have to decide whether to come to church on a Sunday or go to work on Monday because they can't afford gas to fill up their tanks for the week. So they have to make a tough decision. I'm proud to serve with a mayor who is concerned about poverty, concerned about food insecurity, concerned about quality education for our children, concerned with not placing more of our kids into the criminal justice system, but making sure we keep them out of the criminal justice system in the first place. Let's applaud a mayor with these kinds of concerns. Let's applaud a city where we can make a real difference. So as we stand here today, we memorialize this day to initiate hope for our city, hope for unity, hope for our children, hope for a brighter today, and certainly hope for a brighter future. But our brighter future starts not tomorrow, it starts today. Let's give a big hand to all of us for being here. Let's give a big hand for the memory of Robert Kennedy and Dr. Martin Luther King. Thank you all so much.
Deputy Mayor Hampton, thank you so much. Let's please welcome back Representative Porter. Some closing remarks.
Let's give Raphael a hand of applause. Come on, give him some love. Give Raphael some love. He really knows how to make things move. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a great day thus far. It's been a great afternoon for a little break. But just want to hit a little bit about the Kennedy King Memorial Initiative and what we're trying to do, what we are going to do. And that is, in the next few months, a few months ago we were incorporated. We've been working on the plan to better serve this neighborhood, not just around the park, but go beyond 16th Street, goes beyond 22nd Street, goes beyond Central and College, to bring all the neighborhoods here together. because a park is a central place that we can do great things. It's a common ground. It's somewhere where we all can work, love, and have hope for. And that's what the Kennedy King Memorial Initiative is about. We were blessed to get a grant from Eli Lilly, from the Lilly Endowment. And we work on our strategic plan, as most of us know. But we work on the plan also, ladies and gentlemen, to keep this, to move toward the 50th anniversary of Robert Kennedy's speech and the homegoing, tragic taking away on Dr. Martin Luther King. So on April 4th, 2018, y'all stand by. We're gonna do some great things in this park, in this community, to uplift what we are about. This is a destination place, and that is what the Kennedy King group wants to do. Make King Park a destination place, because there's a lot of history. There's a lot of love, there's a lot of understanding, there's a lot of foresight in where we need to be as a community. So I want to thank you all for being here. Again, give Raphael some more love. I want to thank Amy. Amy, raise your hand, who's been working with us as our consultant, Amy. And I can't think more about the Parks Department. And if you turn your program over, see the people that have helped us get through this. Kroger, Indy Parks and Abby, Cheryl, Lillian Endowment, Diane Simon, NC2A, King Park CDC, and WRTV. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll bring back Dr. Brown to close us out. And merci beaucoup, muchas gracias, Dr. Shea. Thank you all for being here this afternoon.
Very impressive. I don't know. What did you say? Thank you. Oh, all right. Let us depart. Let me just read this little statement from one of the old priests as your close. He says it this way: Almighty Lord, I pray that you will be our shield as we do battle against ignorance, cruelty, injustice. And through your unending love, we pray that you will deliver us from our enemies, and that we will grant goodness and steadfastness, so that we might lead others to do your will. And as we depart, let us glorify your name through the power of our Lord, Jesus the Christ, and all the other saints. That is the ending, and the first thing you do is turn around and hug somebody. That's the best benediction.